With the Super Bowl just 2 days away, the game's broadcaster, CBS, is coming under criticism for its decision to accept an anti-abortion ad paid for by Focus on the Family. For years, CBS and other networks have rejected advocacy ads during the Super Bowl. In 2004, the network refused to air ads from Move On, PETA, and the United Church of Christ that promoted the church's acceptance of gay and lesbian parishioners. At the time, CBS said it won't air an ad that, quote, touches on and/or takes a position on one side of a current controversial issue of public importance. Just weeks ago, CBS rejected a Super Bowl ad for a gay men's dating website called Man Crunch, but the network is defending its decision to sell airtime for the anti-abortion ad from Focus on the Family, the conservative Christian organization founded by James Dobson.
The ad has not been publicly shown, but it's said to show the mother of college football star Tim Tebow talking about her choice to continue her pregnancy in 1987 against medical advice of her doctor. The website Daily Beast reported CBS worked with Focus on the Family on the ad's script. Gary Schneeberger, a spokesperson for Focus on the Family, said, quote, "There were discussions about the specific wording of the spot, and we came to a compromise." Well, Planned Parenthood responded to the Tebow ad by producing this online video featuring former NFL player Shawn James and the Olympic gold medalist Al Joyner.
I'm Shawn James. I'm a former college and professional football player.
I'm Al Joyner. I won the Olympic gold medal in the triple jump.
I love my family and I love sports.
And Super Bowl weekend is a perfect time to honor both sports and family.
There's a lot of talk leading up to the Super Bowl about an ad focused on sports and family. The ad features a great football player, Tim Tebow, and his loving mother discussing a difficult medical decision she made for her family. I respect and honor Mrs. Tebow's decision.
I want my daughter to live in a world where everyone's decisions are respected.
My mom showed me that women are strong and wise. She taught me that only women can make the best decisions about their health and their future.
My daughter will always be my little girl, but I'm proud every day as I watch her grow up to be her own person, a smart, confident young woman. I trust her to take care of herself.
We're working toward the day where every woman will be valued, where every woman's decision about her health and her family will be respected.
We celebrate families by supporting our mothers, by supporting our daughters, by trusting women.
Former NFL player Shawn James and Olympic gold medalist Al Joyner in the ad produced by Planned Parenthood. We're now joined in the Democracy Now! Studio by Cecile Richards, president of Planned Parenthood. In Washington, D.C., we're joined by sportswriter Dave Zirin, author of A People's History of Sports in the United States. Let's begin with you, Cecile Richards. So they have this ad, Focus on the Family. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
But you've produced this ad, which is not going to air in the Super Bowl on Sunday.
No. In fact, if I had $2.5 million, which Focus on the Family spent, we'd put it into health care for women, which is really what we do primarily at Planned Parenthood.
So talk about Focus on the Family's ad, its message, what you understand it is, and why you've produced this one.
Well, I think that actually, I haven't seen the ad, but Mrs. Tebow's story is a compelling one. This is a woman who had important medical information, had to make a decision that encompassed a lot of moral and medical elements, and she came to the decision that was right for her and her family. And for Planned Parenthood, this really underscores exactly what we're about, which is we believe that every woman should be able to make personal, private medical decisions about their health without government interference, and I think that actually is pretty much what the Tebow story is.
Well, we invited CBS to join us on the program, but they declined our request. The network issued the following statement, quote, "We have for some time moderated our approach to advocacy submissions after it became apparent that our stance did not reflect public sentiment or industry norms on the issue. At CBS, our standards and practices process continues to adhere to a process that ensures all ads on all sides of an issue are appropriate for air." I'd like to ask Dave Zirin in Washington the importance of these ads on Super Bowl day and some of the history of this issue of the controversy over ads.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because to look at our culture, to look at our movies, and now to look at Super Bowl Sunday, you would never know that a woman actually has the right to choose in this country. And yet so much of the culture is lined up against that. For CBS to say that this is not an issue that evokes controversy. I mean, obviously, the protest belies that. The thing about the Super Bowl is that it is the one event on an annual basis in this country that really unites national viewership. Over the last generation, you've seen ratings for the Olympics fall. You've seen ratings for the World Series fall. You've even seen the ratings for things like the presidential inauguration fall, because you have 5,000 channels now in a very divided entertainment gaze. But the difference is the Super Bowl actually is bigger now than it was 20 years ago. A lot of people watch just to see the commercials. And for CBS to give an organization like Focus on the Family that kind of viewership, to me, is beneath contempt. And I think Planned Parenthood should have equal time on Super Bowl Sunday and should not have to spend one dime to have it.
Huh. What's your response,
I
Cecile?
love that idea. I think that's I think that'd be a wonderful, wonderful thing, because I think your point is really important in that the purpose of Focus on the Family, which is a far-right organization, in showing this ad, is not to really tell the Tebow story. I think it's really their purpose is to try to undermine the legal right of women in this country to choose to terminate a pregnancy if they so choose. And that's, I think the important thing is since millions of viewers will be watching this story, I think it's an important time to reflect on the Tebow families, what happened there, because again, I think it underscores a very fundamental American value, which is that women have to have the right to make decisions that can be complex medical, moral decisions, but they have to be able to make those decisions without the government interfering and telling them what to do.
I wanted to look at an ad that CBS did not accept. CBS accepted the Focus on the Family ad for the Super Bowl, and the Daily Beast says they helped write it, helped perfect the script. But CBS refused to air this ad from mancrunch.com, an online dating site for gay men.
10, 5, oh, come on! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. What? You suck! Yeah, that's right. Okay, now let's convert it. Let's go. Let's go. I wanna kiss this guy. I really, really, really wanna kiss this guy. Go with it, why not?
For our radio audience, the ad ends with a scene of two male football fans kissing. In a statement, CBS wrote, quote, "After reviewing the ad, which is entirely commercial in nature, our Standards and Practices Department decided not to accept this particular spot. As always, we're open to working with the client on alternative submissions." Dave Zirin, first your response, then we'll get Cecile Richards.
Wow. Let's remember last year there was a Super Bowl ad that also had two men kissing, but it followed with them tearing out their own chest hair in pain and in self-abasement as if they had to do something very manly to themselves to sort of wash away the idea that they had any sort of man-on-man affection for one another. So that's where you get to the tricky thing about advocacy ads, because when it comes to things like homophobia, CBS has advocated that during the Super Bowl. When it comes to things like women wanting to wear bikinis in front of men who drink beer, they'll advocate that. When it comes to the U.S. Armed Forces, I mean, this is the Pentagon's big commercial day. They'll advocate that. And now Focus on the Family has a seat at the table as well. So this is, I would argue, this is actually right-wing censorship when you have Move On, United Church of Christ, and Planned Parenthood left out of the party.
Cecile Richards.
No, I think it's a good point. I think there's no way. Obviously, we haven't come out and said that ads should be censored, but they need to have. It has to be equal treatment, and I think that's what you're seeing that it hasn't been true. So, maybe this is going to cause a new conversation with CBS for sure.
Dave Zirin, I'd like to ask you to stay with us, but for the moment, I want to stick with Cecile Richards on some other issues. An abstinence study has just come out. I'd like you to summarize what it's all about, and how it's been played right now is that this shows that abstinence education works, just saying no.
Right. So, I mean, there have been many studies over the last 10 years because, of course, under the Bush administration, that was the federal government's program, is that they funded programs in schools that only taught abstinence, that never provided any information, in fact, provided misleading information about contraception, using condoms. What this new study shows is simply that abstinence should be an important part of any comprehensive sex education program. That's what we believe at Planned Parenthood. It's clearly part of a sex education program. But the difference in this new study is that they did talk about contraception, and they provided information to young people. Under the Bush era, this program never would have been funded.